right, we're live. Let me open up the live stream here. I'm assuming there's nobody in yet. Make sure audio's good. Okay, good. That's not too bad volume-wise. Just turn this down a little bit. All right. Let me just share this to the Discord now. Or not the Discord, the Telegram. How's everybody doing? Looks like we're starting to get some people in the chat. Let me close down here. Song. What's up, Critical? We do have one Instagram review lined up already, but if you would like one of your model Instagrams reviewed, please just put their handle in the chat like this, and I will add it to the queue. And I'll also be answering questions. So if you've got a question, I'll answer it here. I'll put it up on the screen like this so that everybody can follow which question I'm answering. And yeah, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm gonna wait until we get like 10 people before I pop my Zen. How's music? Let me know if music is too loud. And let me also make sure that audio tracks are all good. Yeah, everything looks good. To me, at least. Here we go. Yeah, you just ask questions in the chat, in the actual YouTube chat, and I will pop them up on the screen. So, in the meantime, I guess I can just talk about Hazel's people here. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer to get started. It's not 5 o'clock just yet, so I'm gonna wait until we have like 10 people in the chat, and then I'll start doing the review. Okay, 24-hour sunshine. I'll add that to the list. 4-hour sunshine. Are you sure this is the correct? Looks like the account's private. Warming up account. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not going to be able to see any content, so I don't think I can do a review on a private account. But yeah, let's see. Journaling, rock art, crochet. Interesting. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to review unless you gave me the wrong handle or something. I will not be able to review a private account. While we are waiting for people to start coming in, does anybody have any questions? What's going on with your agency right now? What are you working on? What are you struggling with? These are the kinds of things that I am interested in. I'm working on a very comprehensive course for those of you that are not familiar. Here, let me just pop it up on screen really quick. My objective is for this to be like just the ONLYFANS marketing course. So going to be 25 chapters. All of them are going to have a full-length video guide with SOPs and other like just free PDF documents that come with it. This will be my first like big info product, so pretty excited about it. I'm about, in terms of like writing all of the scripts, I'm about let's say 40% of the way done. So if anybody in the chat is interested in early access to the to the product, let me know, and I will. I'll try to figure something out, something to make the early people make it worth their time. Okay, so we've got some questions now. Oh, okay, 24-hour sunshine XX. Yeah, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to help you out there, bud. That also doesn't seem like it's available. So, oh wait, it's because I added the at there. My bad. Okay. Still looks like there's not any content, so not much I'm going to be able to help you out with there, but I will watch this one piece of content and let you know what I think. Okay. So I'm going to answer a few questions, and then we're going to get into reviewing this creator, Hazela.xo, or Hazela.xo. Can we speak today about how to launch models properly? Been struggling with this topic since my first day ever in the space. How do guys launch models from 0 and scale them to 10K within their first month? That is a great question, and I would be happy to talk about that. Let me see if I can figure it. There we go. Wow, that is monstrous. Let me make sure the stream is displaying everything as intended. Sorry, I'm still very new to streaming, so I just want to make sure that everything is working as intended. Yeah, we can absolutely talk about launch models today. It's a complicated topic, so it's not something I'm going to be able to get into like super comprehensively. I am also not like the premier launch model guy. That would be this gentleman right here. Hold on, let me see if I can find him. Mike and his banana Instagram. I did a podcast with him a while ago. This guy launches. I've seen his stats. He's done like first month launches of like 50K. Insane shit. That is what he specializes in, is launch creators. So I'll probably have him back. I did a podcast with him a while back. I'll probably do another podcast with him in the near future, talking about some of the tactics that he uses, although I think he likes to keep them kind of close to the chest. But yeah, we can talk about launch. Could you show an example of reskinning a winner video? I don't know if I'll be able to find something like that on demand. Like obviously stuff pops up. The problem is that my Instagram feed is like on this account is it's just an account that I have set aside for a documentary project that I'm working on. And the only creator that I follow is this guy who has like a squirrel puppet. So the only thing that ever shows up on my Reels feed is just this squirrel doing this. So I won't be able to find that, but if you can find like a winner video and like an example of a reskin, I'd be happy to review it and explain why it works. Oh, what are the steps you take from signing to start to run everything? Let's see, mainly branding. We can promote content. It's coming with a consistent brand that fits the model effectively. Which plugin do you use to see the top 50 reels? The plugin that I use to do all of this analysis is called SortFeed. And I will explain it in just a moment. It looks like we've got enough people in the chat now that I can start doing the Instagram review. So last question that I'll answer before I start reviewing. Any suggestions on what verticals to do on a more muscular gym creator? Just started out with this one, Poppy Jewels. I'll add them to the list. Let's see. Ooh. There we go. And I'll set that up here. Okay. Okay, all right, we are gonna start now. So I'm just gonna give a quick high-level overview of what I'm about to do for anybody that has not attended one of these lives before. This is basically people are going to submit model Instagrams for me to review and analyze. And what I'm gonna do is just like a high-level analysis of that creator's content and their performance and why I think they're either succeeding or failing. And the metric that I'm going to use for this, because I obviously am not going to have, if you just send me a model's account, I'm not going to have access to her insight, like her Instagram insights. And so the best that we can do is I use a tool called SortFeed. I look at the model's last 500 posts. We'll probably narrow that a little bit today just for time's sake. So I'll probably make it something like 200. And we're going to analyze that model's performance. And the metrics that we're going to use are total views across those posts. So in this case, we've got the first model that we're going to review is this Hazel Aurora model. So she's got 406,000 followers. So we're going to plug all this into the sheet. She's got 406,000 followers. I've already created a spreadsheet of her 500 most recent, most performant reels. And she's gotten 56 million views across those last 500 reels for an average views per post of 112,495 and an average VTFR, that's a view to follower ratio, of 0.28. This is the metric that we're using to evaluate performance. It's not perfect, but it is very useful directionally for understanding like whether or not a creator is kind of hitting solid benchmarks. So I would say that like a good target VTFR is in the 0.5 to 0.7 range. That's like very good performance consistently. And then you'll have occasionally like insane giga performing creators that are at like 1.5 or even 1.7 VTFR. Basically what this number tells us is this model has 406,000 followers. She's on average, only a quarter of those followers are seeing her posts. So our objective is going to be, okay, we have that information. What do we do with it? We are going to attempt to diagnose why only a quarter of her followers are seeing her posts on a regular basis, and then hopefully try to get this number a little bit higher. So I will save questions for after I do this analysis. So Sebastian DNL, I will get to that. But let's take a look at this creator first. So we're going to just look at the top 50 most recent, most viewed reels. So first, let's take a look at the creator's just base page. We can see already that there has been a steep drop off in views, right? 4,000, 6,000, 4,000, 8,000, 7,000. These are not numbers that you would expect from a creator with 406,000 followers. And we can also see that if you go back a little bit, the performance is a little bit better, but not by much. So we're going to try to figure out why this is the case. I think I've got, who is this? I don't know if he wants me to use his name, but I have this models manager in the chat, so I might ask a couple of questions directly to you. If you would please just respond in the YouTube chat, that would be awesome. And he's also given me some information about the model that I'm going to share. So last month, so for the month of January, this model did 516 paid subs at a $3.15 entry price and a $9 renewal. So the first thing I'm going to say there, this is not necessarily something to do with the Instagram page. I think that, like, obviously you have 400,000 followers, you should be doing more than 516 paid subs per month. I've had models where I was doing 500 paid subs per day with a similar following size. So not a criticism, obviously, like, we're here to learn, I'm here to share information. But just to give you a sense, I would say that, like, realistically, with, like, if your Instagram funnel is functioning as it should, this model should probably be getting between 100 and 150 paid subscribers a day. So you're definitely off target there. But let's say conservatively, let's aim for like 50 paid subs per day. Your pricing is fine. I think I would actually probably kick up the renewal price a little bit, just so that you're getting additional subscription revenue. And then 1.5% conversion rate from click. That's excellent. That means that, like, you're not getting a ton of views on your content, but you are reaching the right audience. 1.5% conversion rate is very solid, off of the standard, like, link me link. And I'm assuming that that's probably, you're missing some tracking there just because OF tracking links are dog shit. So that's a good sign to me. And then 15.7K total monthly revenue. Okay. So yeah, I think that this creator should probably be making more than that. I think that you could reasonably expect, for a creator with this following size, if you're niching your content correctly, and you're approaching organic social correctly, you could probably be doing at least double or triple of that just off of Instagram leads. So let's figure out what's going on here. So I've already looked at some of this creator's reels. I think she's got a great personality. You've got this really nice camera setup. So I think I would, minor nitpicks here, but just on the visual front, I would change the way that you grade these because she looks a little bit like washed out or like pale. She's got this like lovely caramel color skin. You should really be emphasizing that. It looks like, it's like the tint of this image is just a little bit too bluish. Warm up the skin tone. These are like super easy fixes. You can just look up, just like Google or YouTube color grading, for, like, let's say, like caramel skin tones, and you'll find guides on how to do that really easily. But she's got beautiful skin. She's got a beautiful skin color. She's got beautiful eye, like very pretty creator. You've got an amazing creator here. I'm gonna turn the music off really quick if I can find it. There we go. Okay, so let's watch this reel. Okay, so it looks like we've got like an ASMR thing going on here. One thing that I will say is that, like just right off the bat, just looking at this, like looking at her feed, it looks like you're doing too many different types of content that are totally unrelated. So you're confusing the algorithm right off the bat. You've got ASMR here, you've got some like other speaking videos here that are not ASMR, you've got some reaction content, and just I'll play a couple more for the benefit of the audience. But like I said, I've already watched some of these. It seems like she's got a great personality. She's comfortable speaking on camera. So I think the first piece of advice that I'm going to give you is just focus down. What I would honestly recommend doing is there's a link in the description of this video. It's the brand blueprint. It is the first link in the description, actually. Download the free brand strategy workbook used to help creators reach the top 0.01%. If you have not already, go through the brand strategy workbook with this creator. And really nail down like what is it that she enjoys doing on camera, what is it that she enjoys about being on camera, and like identify, because right now the problem is you have a creator who has the potential to build a very strong brand in terms of like she's got the look, she's got the personality, and she's like really comfortable on camera, and that's super obvious, but you are insufficiently niched. And so I talk about this all the time, so I'm going to be beating a dead horse here for anybody that's watching any of my content. I've said this a million times. 2019 to 2024, you could get away with having like a variety channel. You could get away with like pumping out a bunch of like memes and like silly skits and reaction content. And it didn't really, like you didn't really have to niche down because your content was going to get served to everybody, because Instagram Reels was competing with TikTok, and they were just like, oh, we have to just get like, we want to support creators. So we're going to just blast out content to everybody. Everybody's going to see everything. It's going to be really easy to win at the content game. That is no longer the case. Social media is increasingly interest-based, and so what you have to do as a creator, or in this case as an agency, is identify, okay, who is my precise target audience? What does my model enjoy doing? What kind of content can my model create that maximizes the likelihood that she reaches that specific target audience? And right now, right, all of this is like this variety content is like, okay, the ASMR stuff is going to maybe reach ASMR people, but the problem is you have 3 other types of content that are not going to be interesting to ASMR people, and that means that the ASMR content isn't going to be served to the ASMR audiences. It's going to be served to the audiences that are here for other stuff. The other stuff is going to get served to the ASMR audiences, and what's going to happen is you're just going to have insane churn, and nobody's going to watch any of your videos for more than 3 seconds. So okay, so it looks like you're responding in the chat, so we started testing different content and it underperformed. The reactions usually work best for us. Yeah, so what I would say is let's take a look right now at the most performant pieces of content on this page of all time. I'm gonna say something that's you probably don't want to hear, which is most likely the path forward for this creator involves creating a totally new Instagram account. That doesn't mean that all of the hard work that you put in on this is not going to be useful, or that you're not going to be able to continue to leverage this account. What it does mean, though, is that new account, and I'll share some like a high level kind of tactic that you can use to build that new account up really quickly. I think realistically, if you do it correctly and you have like a properly niched account, you'll be able to build this model back up to 100,000 followers within 30 to 60 days. So no, not a huge worry there. And I think that I won't disclose too much, but I think you've got a good relationship with this model, so I don't think it'll be too hard to convince her that that's the right path. Okay. So yeah, but January was a steep decrease when we tried more branded content. This is the problem, and this is something that I will admit that I have failed to address in my videos. And I need to probably be a little bit more explicit about it and make maybe an entirely separate video about it. You can't switch from, if you've been doing like unbranded, unniched content for 2 years and then you switch to branded content on the same account, it's not going to hit because the algorithm is already tuned to your like random variety channel stuff. And so right now what's happening is only a small number of your existing followers are ever going to see your content, and you're not going to get any new followers on this account by doing branded content. So, and yeah, like you said, there's people with half our traffic making 3.5x more. Yeah, or 3 to 5x more. So we did try very hard to nail down her interests. She's very diverse, but she has a YouTube channel of solely ASMR YouTube, and the YouTube people are loyal and spend more than IG. Her YT is totally ASMR meditation. Okay, so here's what I would do then. Keep this channel, keep this to like the variety stuff and like reaction videos and stuff that has historically worked, and then start a totally new Instagram page that is just ASMR content, and then get even more specific than ASMR content. It's ASMR content about something that she enjoys talking about. The ASMR itch, it's a psychology that I haven't really explored a ton, but the stuff that I see that consistently performs well for ASMR creators is, let me show you, actually, I'm going to link this in the YouTube chat. Let me see if I can find it. It's like ASMR date night movie, where this creator does really well with ASMR, and this I think is like a perfectly executed video for OnlyFans. I'm linking it in the chat. So use this as kind of a baseline, but she does like ASMR date nights. So it's like a POV thing. She sets up this, like everything is set up to make the viewer feel as though they are in the room with her while she's doing this ASMR stuff. You don't necessarily have to go in that direction with this creator, but you need to figure out, like, it's not just you're doing ASMR, it's you're doing a specific type of ASMR that covers a specific range of topics, or a very narrow range of topics, and then bore down from there. So that is how I would advise you to approach for this creator moving forward, is just create a second account, do only ASMR content on that account, and then once you have that second account set up, all you have to do is collab post with this main account, and then do a daily story post that says, if you're interested in if you like my ASMR content, follow this Instagram page. And then you'll push a bunch of traffic. You'll get as many followers as you possibly can who are interested in that content from your existing audience. And then the additional upside of that also is that you have, if you're posting on both accounts consistently, which I believe that you should be, you're going to get additional surface area from people who follow both accounts, because they're going to be served content from both accounts every time they open the app. And that obviously increases the net new exposures that they're going to get to this creator. They're going to see her more often, and that makes them more likely to convert into longtime customers. And then the fact that she has a YouTube, I think you should also probably be leaning more into that. YouTube, I think, is a really underexplored content vehicle for OnlyFans creators. It's obviously a lot more effort, but you get more content minutes, meaning like that a person who's watching your content on YouTube, you're going to get, you know, if somebody has to watch, let's say, like between 10 and 20 Instagram reels in order to even follow your creator, and then let's say another 20 Instagram reels to potentially subscribe to the creator's OnlyFans, let's say they have to watch 30 minutes of content in aggregate in order to achieve that goal. You can do that in one YouTube video. So you're developing relationships with the audience way faster. Okay, so that's all the time I'm going to spend on this creator. Hopefully that was helpful for you. And now I'm going to answer some questions. Holy shit. Okay, chat's blowing up. Okay, what's up, Francis? I've been watching some new IG accounts that are blowing up like crazy. One of them is an AI model, and I'm honestly shocked at how she's pulling so many views with such simple... Okay, so we can have a little conversation about AI models really quick. What does Francis think of AI OnlyFans? Boop. Okay, I'm going to put the music on as well. So yeah, a lot of people asking questions about AI. I think that AI is going to be, especially AI like OnlyFans or AI, let's just say AI models that are using fan sites as the monetization vehicle. I think it's going to be relatively short-lived, but it's a huge gold rush. It's like a gold rush on the level of like 2019, like COVID OnlyFans. And so I think if it's something that you're interested in doing, you need to like pursue it fully. It demands your complete attention because there's a technical aspect that's not necessarily present in standard content creation, but your margins are way higher. And if you get good at creating content that people actually enjoy watching with AI, your margins are infinite. You're not sharing any revenue with a model, right? So a couple of things. If you're planning on doing AI OnlyFans, creative matters more than anything else. You can't just be doing like standard thirst trap stuff unless you have insane distribution. If you're interested in like what insane distribution looks like and what quality AI content looks like, I would recommend that you watch this podcast that I did with, one second, It's funny. I talk to all these people, and I have to remind myself that I cannot say their names because they don't want their names out there. So I did a podcast with the CEO of Accelerate, which is an agency that's doing, I think, like a few million, like 3 million, maybe more. I could be misremembering. It's between like 3 and 7 million on a monthly basis with just AI creators. He's great. This podcast that I just posted in the chat has a ton of information. So bookmark that, watch it after this live stream if you're interested in doing AI OnlyFans. But long story short, I think that AI OnlyFans absolutely is extremely lucrative. I think that you can make a lot of money with it, let's say for the next like 12, maybe even 24 months. But it's one of those things that people are going to probably either develop a preference for or a psychic resistance to, and they're not going to be interested. It's like the novelty is going to wear off. So I don't have a crystal ball. Hard for me to determine the future. I think the real winners in AI are going to be the guys who run the AI companion platforms, stuff like Candy.ai, SecretDesires.ai, because I just think that those are a better product in general than fan sites. But yeah, AI is absolutely a thing. AI OnlyFans, AI fan sites, AI adult content is absolutely a thing. And if you are interested in making a lot of money in the short term, or if you're like just starting OnlyFans and you're like still in the phase where you're like signing your first models and figuring stuff out, I think it would be wise to do AI OnlyFans as opposed to like going the traditional route. Okay. Francis, let's see. I've got a ton of requests and a ton of content, so I'm going to try to burn through these next few questions pretty quick. Francis, could you please make a stream showing several creators who, in your opinion, have built their brand ideally? It would be interesting to see models who cover a very specific market sector. Yes, absolutely. That's a great idea. I will do a dedicated live stream. I'm going to add that to the spreadsheet, actually. Also, what's up, Belenzo Brinko? Always with the great content ideas. But yes, I will do that in the near future. There's a few creators that come to mind immediately who I think have done a phenomenal job of niching and like developing a really a very clear identity and a very clear brand that appeals to a narrow subset of the market, and they're absolutely fucking crushing it. So I will do a stream on that. That'll maybe be my next stream. What do you think about the content vertical where you have your creator reenact a clip from a streamer? Example, speed dating with Aiden Ross or whatever streamer. God, okay, all these big text things just kind of suck. I don't really know. That's not something that I've like followed super closely. Obviously, streamers are insanely popular, and if you can leverage, basically what you're doing there is you're arbitraging somebody else's fame for your benefit. So, like you play I'm assuming that the vertical that you're talking about is like a clip plays and then your creator recreates the clip. That could be good. I think that's probably better for virality than it is for like developing parasocial relationships, but it's an avenue that you could explore, and I think as long as you do it in a thoughtful way and the creator is exhibiting some personality that the audience can connect with while they're recreating the whatever it is that's happening on the stream or reacting to whatever is happening on the stream, streaming is more popular than ever, and it's a great way to get clicks because people are naturally going to be curious about the hook. I have a noob question. Schrodinger's cat 3912. I have a noob question. What would be the proper way to handle financials, like invoicing the model, since you have full control of the model's OF who has their bank account tied to the OF page? This is going to depend entirely on the relationship that you have with the model, right? So if you are like with my models, they trusted me to the point where I like had access to their banking credentials, and so I literally just wired myself money from their accounts on a weekly basis. That's not going to be the case for everybody, and in fact, that's probably not something that like most agencies should do. But I think the best way to do it is probably bi-weekly invoicing, and you have keep. First of all, your contract should be airtight. It should very clearly state like the model is required to send you, whatever your rev share percentage is. And I like doing bi-weekly. Monthly is too long of a timeline, and I just know so many agencies that get screwed over. They do like monthly payouts, and then they work their asses off and they spend thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars managing a model's account. And the model decides like, okay, this is like they have a record month, and then the model is like, okay, well, I'm just going to walk away with the money now. Because they made $100,000 or $200,000, and they're like, okay, this is life-changing money for me, and I'm not going to share it with you. So bi-weekly is best in my opinion, because you can catch if a model is like getting delinquent on payments very quickly. Hopefully you're never in that situation, but that is what I would recommend. And then as far as like, I know that there's the whole other layer of complication with non-US based models or models that don't have access to like Swift or wire transfers and stuff like that, where you have to use like Paxum and Skrill. Unfortunately, I'm not super well versed with that, so would not be able to help you if that's your situation. Sahar Ophir 6166, what is the extension you're using that shows you everything about the reels? That's called Sort Feed. It is a Chrome extension. It's like $30 lifetime. Download it. It's a godsend. It's an incredibly useful tool. Hey Francis, can you review It's Ginny Only? Yes, I can. I will do that next. I'm just going to burn through these next questions really quick, and then I'll get back to reviews. Okay. How do I sound more like a girl when recruiting from one of my girls' accounts and DMs? I need to learn how to text like a girl. I can't help you with that. That is not how I never did cold outreach for recruiting. I always did local. So I can't really help you with that. I don't even know if like texting like a girl is the right way to go. I think that this is just speculation. I'm not 100% sure. But I think that models for the most part have kind of figured out that it's like if a model is reaching out to them, it's on the behalf of the agency. And I think that the biggest agencies in the world right now are running off of primarily referrals as opposed to cold recruiting. So the best lead is an inbound lead. If you develop a personal brand, that obviously takes time. Failing that, if you're just getting started, again, AI OFM I think is a real thing that you might consider getting into if you're kind of looking for a quicker cash grab with better margins, but it obviously has a higher technical barrier to entry. Any auditing tips for OF and IG? That's what we're doing right now, brother. We're auditing Instagram, so just watch and follow my process. A small question: my AA model has like ass as the main feature. Does that make even sense, or do people really like more bust, or is it not important? I mean, some men like ass and some men like boobs, or that's overly reductive, but I think it's not that important. What's important is that the creator has some sort of other differentiating feature. Ass, boobs, it's not enough. The personality or like the specific, think more about your audience in terms of like, think about yourself as a consumer of content, right? You're sitting here, you're watching this live stream because you're getting some kind of value out of it. You're looking for specific information. What is the value that your audience is looking for out of social media? How do you create content that fulfills that desire? That's the question that you need to ask, even with AI content. Can you make a video stream where you have access to the insights of the creator too, if it's feasible? I would have to find somebody, maybe like a consulting client, that would be comfortable with that. I could probably ask the Telegram group chat and do like a live like consultation or something like that. That would be the easiest way to do that, but that will depend on finding somebody. That I'm not managing any creators right now, and I don't intend to, so I don't have access to any creator insights at the moment. Does natural model perform better? Any services to recover the money they stole? I'm the wrong guy to answer that question. Okay, all right. That's all the questions that I'm gonna answer for now. We're going to go back to Instagram reviews. So 24 Hour Sunshine only has one reel, so I'm not going to review them. Let's check out this creator. We've got Poppy Jules. Okay, this was the guy that was asking about fitness content verticals. It looks like right now you only have carousels. I'm assuming that this is relatively new. So whoever submitted this, what I will say is it looks like you've got a great creator. She's like tall. It looks like, or she at least appears to be pretty tall, like probably like 5'8", 5'9", maybe even a little bit taller. She's got a great physique. And so what you want to do is figure out like what element of the personality of the model can you highlight in the gym content. So it's not like there's a best gym content vertical. It's the best gym content vertical for your model. So if she's like a personal trainer, maybe have her do like coaching content or like fitness challenge content. That's stuff that I think is a little bit underexplored and something that I recommend to consulting clients that are in the fitness niche. So like, what would it look like if this creator was, she like kind of got in your face and was like, hey, and more because she's taller, I think she's naturally taller and muscular. She's going to attract men who maybe want to be dominated or are like, have the muscle mommy thing. And so I think for this creator specifically, as long as it suits her personality, I would opt for more like drill sergeant-y or like more commanding tone in reels that you create. And so like coaching or like fitness planning, like, hey, this is the workout that I do to develop my glutes, or like, can you squat more than me? Stuff like that might perform really well. Let's see. What are your current businesses other than consulting at the moment, if you're comfortable sharing? I've got my hands in a few pots. I do growth marketing for a AI companion site. Consulting is the primary business right now, and what I'm trying to do, I still do consulting calls. I do 3 of those a month, and that's a very, like, I put a ton of effort into those calls. So like what you're seeing right now with just this like Instagram analysis / review is like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what I do for my consulting clients. I'll build them a fully fleshed out brand. I'll shoot content verticals and say like, hey, this is what you should be doing, or like these are the content verticals that I would prescribe for this creator. I give them creative direction, stuff like that. I enjoy that, but it's obviously not particularly scalable. The other element of the business that I'm trying to expand, and I just did my first big job for a South African agency. I flew my whole creative team out, and we were in South Africa for 2 weeks, and we shot like 3 terabytes of content. We just shot an ungodly amount of content. We developed a whole brand for the creator. Those on-site travel consulting jobs are what I'm trying to take. That's the direction that I'm trying to take the consulting business. So really more of like a hybrid consulting and production company, like full-scale production company, specifically for OnlyFans. And then I am also working on an info product right now. I'm working on an extremely comprehensive OnlyFans marketing course, and that will be for people who either are not in an operational position to take advantage of my consulting services, because like realistically, it doesn't make sense to fly me out to shoot a bunch of content for your creator and develop a brand unless they're already making, let's say, like $100,000 to $200,000 a month. That most agencies don't have any models that are making that much. So I have a very limited target market that I can go after, and realistically, I could probably anticipate doing like 4 of those gigs a year at most. So I'm working on an info product to help smaller agencies who are not in a position to take advantage of my more bespoke services. That's what, and then I'm also shooting an OnlyFans documentary. So that's what I am working on right now. So like I said, I've got my hands in a lot of pots, and the future is bright. The consulting business has really taken off, and so I feel very fortunate in that regard. But I'm looking for, like right now, I'm working on stuff that's a little bit more scalable. And once I have the info product developed, I'll probably take a step back from consulting and focus more on the documentary. Okay. So yeah, hopefully that helped you out, whoever submitted Poppy Jewels. Now we're going to do It's Ginny Only. Here we go. All right, so we've got 20K followers. Let's do a sort here. We're going to do last 200, not 500, just because 500 I think is less directionally useful for newer creators. I'm assuming that you even have 200 reels. While this is sorting, I'll answer a couple questions. Oh, never mind, it's already done. Okay, so it looks like you've got some performant reels. What I'm going to do here is copy the CSV. We're going to create a new sheet. I'll show you guys right now, like live, how I do this sort of analysis. So first thing we're going to do is, beautiful thing about sort feed is you can just copy, basically it tracks all of the stats from her last 200 reels in this case. We're going to copy that here, and then we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the views column, and we're just going to sum that. So 864,813 views across the last 200 reels. We're going to input her follower count, so that's 20,200 followers. Total views is going to be 864,813. Is that right? Or no, I'm sorry, 8,640,813. Okay, 200 posts. And okay, so you are on a pound for pound basis. This creator is doing a phenomenal job. You've got a 2.14 VTFR, so whatever you're doing is working well. So on that front, basically, like that tells me that whatever you're doing, you are on the right track. And it looks to me like you're getting pretty good performance consistently across these reels. I think a lot of people think like, oh, if I'm not getting 1 million views every week, like I'm doing bad. But again, the best performance metric that I can give without actually seeing the creator's insights is this view to follower ratio function. And she's basically on a pound for pound basis, she has 20,000 followers, and on average, her entire follower base plus another 20,000 people, 23,000 people are seeing her content. So you're doing good on that front. Always important to look at the average over time metrics as opposed to the spikier viral stuff. So let's watch some of this creator's content. Okay, we'll start with the pinned ones, I guess. And I will shut off music for now. So it looks like you've got kind of a okay, that's good. I like that. All right, so you've got some like funny kind of scenario POV stuff. More POV. All right, I like it. Let's look at some not pinned posts here. This one popped off. You did 10x VTFR on this. All right, so it looks like you're doing a lot of like POV videos. So one thing I will say that you're doing well is consistency, right? Everything that we've seen so far, you're doing the same type of thing. So we've got date night stuff. Like presumably you're the cameraman or whoever maybe it's her boyfriend or something, I'm not sure. But it looks to me like you're consistently doing that. So here's a POV video of her being silly on a plane. Here's one of her like in the pool. The fact that you are consistently delivering the same type of content is very good, and I think that is probably why she's performing well over time here. I don't think that this is like a particularly unique content vertical. There's like obviously other people that are doing it, but it seems like she's got kind of like a fun, cute personality. She's like funny. She's doing funny stuff in the reels. So really not a ton of, what's this? Oh, we're getting political here.
And Israel are setting Argentina on fire, yes. They are behind the fire that is going on in the Patagonia of Argentina. But how is it possible that American politicians help everybody and they are the most powerful country, but they always keep bending the knee to Israel, and Americans won't say or do anything about it?
Great. Yeah, political content, and obviously political content that specifically involves the United States is going to increase the likelihood that you reach a U.S. audience. She's speaking English. You've got like a decent little lighting and camera setup here. I'm assuming this was self-shot. So not a ton of notes for you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. This is obviously like working well for you, and you will see consistent growth across this creator. I would be curious if you're still in the chat. I would be curious to see what this creator's stats are on like a revenue basis, how many subscribers they're generating. If you're comfortable sharing that, you can either do that in the YouTube chat or DM me on Telegram. And now that we are caught up on creators, I'm going to answer some more questions. Let's see. And music. Where's music? There we go. I'm going to change things up a little bit. Let me put on a playlist so I don't have to keep finicking with this. Bear with me for a moment. Here we go. Okay, if you were to do an AI creator, what creators are you starting? If I were doing AI content creation, which to some extent I actually kind of am, just not for OFM, I'm doing it for an AI companion website. What I do, the way that I approach it, is I create a fully fleshed out character for the model, right? So like, what is her personality? What are her interests? What is the target audience that she's trying to reach? Just like I would do for a real creator. The upside of AI is that the upper bound on, like, the only limitation on what you can do is like how creative you are. So that's the thing that I think people don't understand. So like, I'm gonna go on a quick rant here about what OnlyFans actually is and why it's the best way to make money very quickly as a creator. So yeah, we're gonna get in the weeds here a little bit. So the reason that OnlyFans matters, the reason that OnlyFans is like as successful as a business as it is that OnlyFans solves the creator monetization problem. So if you're like an entertainment creator, let's say that you're a comedy creator on social media, on Instagram or something, and you have 1 million followers, it is not obvious how you transition that 1 million followers into dollars, right? You're not really building trust with your audience. You're not like giving away information. You're not giving away a ton of value. It's just people are laughing at your content. But like making people laugh does not always translate one-to-one into dollars, right? So the thing that OnlyFans did is when OnlyFans came along, it basically said it doesn't matter what kind of creator you are. It doesn't matter what your niche is. It doesn't even matter what type of content you create, really. you can do anything and you have a monetization vehicle as long as you're a hot girl, because people are watching your content, and whoever's interested in you, you can now directly monetize them. You don't have to sell merchandise. You don't have to come up with a product. You don't have to do brand deals. You monetize directly through OnlyFans. And so what AI content allows you to do, the problem, I think, is that fundamentally most OnlyFans models don't want to do OnlyFans. They don't even want to be content creators. This is a problem that I run into with a ton of my consulting clients. I've personally worked with girls that I've pushed to 200K, 300K a month, that don't want to be creators, right? They hate it. It's a pain in the ass to get them to talk on camera. And so what the AI comes in and basically says, you can create any type of content you want. Your only limitation is your creativity, and you still have this incredible monetization vehicle. So to answer your question, Comp PM 12, if you were to do an AI creator, what creators are you starting? Whatever I can think of that I think is going to perform well. I can do gaming. I can do any type of gaming content. I can do any type of like fitness content. I can make the AI do whatever I want. And as those tools get more sophisticated and your creative options open up, there's not like a correct answer to that question. The correct answer to that question is like whatever the fuck you want to do that will convert people into paying customers. So I know it's probably not terribly helpful or like the answer that you were looking for, but the thing is there's not one correct answer to that question. Okay. Quame 1292, do I know what AI tools they're using on Patty Cheeky for edits? No, but if I take a look at it, I might be able to guess. So let me see here. Patty Cheeky, nope, I fucked that up. Come on. Patty Cheeky. I would guess it seems to me like pretty much everyone is just using Higgsfield these days. Is this AI content? So yeah, I would guess. Wow, if this is AI content, this is like pretty unreal. The camera work is crazy. But most likely they're using Higgsfield. Higgsfield is an AI platform that gives you access. It's basically like API access to all of the major AI models, and you can use it to create images, video, and edit video. So most likely Higgsfield, I would guess. Borealis Modeling. Would you suggest deleting the underperforming ASMR content from the 406K follower page, possibly reset the algo and then go solely reaction content there? I'm not really sure. So obviously the Instagram algorithm is not open source. So I don't really know if like deleting content will reset the algo. You can definitely try that. But the second part of that question, yes, I would go solely reaction content, like whatever content is performing best on that page, or has consistently performed best on that page. Continue to do that only on that page, and then push anybody who's interested in ASMR to the new ASMR page. I'll wait for your course. I just burnt 5K in scammy course from big people. That sucks. I am very sorry to hear that. My course will not be priced at $5,000. It will be probably a fair bit lower than that. And it will be extremely valuable. I'm putting a ton of effort into this. Like I said, it's 25 separate lessons. Every single lesson is going to have a video component and a document that's attached to it, and like a quiz. I'll probably do like private lives or something like that as an add-on to anybody who purchases the course, and do like a private group and all that fun stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, I think my hesitation up until now to do a course product has been the fact that like there's so many scammy courses in OFM. But ultimately, like I know that there's a market for it, and I know that the product that I put out is going to be miles and miles better than anything else that currently exists. Okay. Should I form my company where I love out of state? Can you do a video on inflow breakdown in the future, or do you already have one? I don't have an inflow breakdown video, and I'm not sure what you're asking. Should I form my company where I live out of state? If you're in the United States, and where you incorporate your company is going to depend on like what attributes you're looking for out of your LLC. So like if you want a private LLC, you have like where your name isn't listed publicly, like not searchable. You have New Mexico, Wyoming, Nevada, and Delaware. All have the option for private LLCs. So if privacy is your priority, you would incorporate in one of those 4 states. If no income tax is your priority, I think Florida and Texas have that. I'm not sure what other states, but the answer to that question is not like, the one thing I will say is don't fucking incorporate in California. I'm about to release a video in a couple of weeks explaining exactly why. It has to do with the OnlyFans RICO case, but don't incorporate in California. But yeah, do some research and figure out like what what jurisdictions offer you the things that you want out of an LLC. Let's see. All right, we've got another request here we've got Melko Neko. Thoughts on her? Get ready with me. Reels. Or no, let's do, oh gosh, I have so many. Okay, let's see. No, it's not. She's just editing the original footage. Yeah, if she's Quame 1292, I would guess that we're pretty up to shift her body and stuff. Okay, maybe that's right. But yeah, Higgsfield also has like AI tools that will enable you to do all of the stuff that she's doing in those videos. Okay, let's do another review. We've got, come on, there we go. Also, just realized that I've got Aphex Twin playing. Probably not the best. Okay, I'm going to put on another playlist and not torture you guys with my ambient music taste. Here we go. Let's go Firewalker. Yeah. Yeah, this is like my work playlist. Okay. Okay, so Melko Neko. She's got 2.5 million followers. Thoughts on her Get Ready With Me reels. I'm assuming that's going to be like one of these. Let's see. So what I can tell you right away about this creator is the reason that her following is so large and the reason that she's getting a ton of views on this content is she is targeting Latin America. So this is an important thing. She is clearly like a Latina creator. She's using Latin American music in that video, presumably in others as well. So one thing that you always have to keep in mind is that, and if you watched my video on like building a US audience that I just published, it's the most recently published video on the channel, you'll understand this already. But if you are targeting a third world market, there's obviously more people in the third world than there are anywhere else. Like India alone has like 1.5 billion people or something. China has 2 billion people. Well, China is irrelevant because they don't have OnlyFans. But Latin America, another example, very, very populous, relatively low purchasing power per individual. And so you have to kind of cast a wide net. So I would imagine that her US audience is extremely small and that even though she has 2.5 million followers, she is probably producing off of that 2.5 million followers less than or maybe around 100K a month. I'd be interested in talking to her management team and confirming that. But yeah, you'll see this, like obviously her content is performing extremely well because it is not targeting a US audience. She's completely dedicated herself to the Latin American audience, and that means that it's going to be served to that audience, and there's a lot more of those people. So just something to keep in mind when you see creators that look ultra successful like this. The equivalent purchasing, like if she would, let's say she's only reaching like Brazilian consumers, Brazil, if I remember the stats correctly, the like purchasing power per capita relative to the United States is like 50 to 1. So if you divided her following by 50 and you made so let's see what that is because I'm shit at math. Anyways, just pretend like I know what 2.5 million divided by 50 is, and that number would be the equivalent like US following for her to achieve the same purchasing power across her subscriber base. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a perfectly well-constructed Get Ready With Me video. It's just not going to attract a US audience. Can you review Melanders? Just curious how this type of content is still getting views. Yes, I can review. Okay, so it looks like, what type of content is this? New Yorker live haul. I mean, I understand your confusion. This is dog-ass content. It's not really getting views, though, so I'm not sure what you mean exactly. Unless you maybe gave me the wrong... You might have given me the wrong @ or something. Yeah, no idea. Let's see. I'd really like to hear your thoughts on how she's been able to grow so quickly with such a simple content style. Muerto Z. Let's check it out. Okay. So yeah, clearly performing very well. What's her post frequency? That's 1 week. That's 1 week. 2 weeks. So it looks like there's probably like 4 or 5 days between posts. Let's see the actual content. Looks like it's just AI content. What do we got here with the multiple? Yeah, this is abysmal. My guess would be, again, probably very similar to the last creator that I just evaluated. I would bet a substantial amount of money that she's not reaching tier 1 audiences, because this content is legible to third worlders. It's just her doing, or just this AI character doing little dances. So yeah, I would guess, yeah, it's doing views, but maybe they're just targeting a third world audience. Maybe they're only getting a third world audience. These are not the types of views that would convert to OnlyFans subscribers, I would imagine. So it's possible that they're also doing some stuff, like some black hat stuff, and like doing view botting or something like that. Not 100% sure, but I would not attempt to, were I you, I would not attempt to replicate this content and expect to have any degree of success. So can't speak to exactly why it's working. I'd need to talk to the agency and figure out exactly what's going on behind the scenes. But yeah, I would guess that a majority of these views are not from tier 1 countries. Let's see. No, it's not. What strategies are currently being used? I mean, are they still using bot automation? I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Luminaries production, I will answer your question, but I need a little bit more clarity on what exactly it is that you're trying to ask. Any warm-up tips for socials? I think Melko Neko is Persian and they're trying to target US. It's probably 20% US still. Again, I'd have to look at the analytics, but I would strongly doubt that it's even 20% US. But I also only watched a couple pieces of content, so could be wrong. Okay, we've got another request here for Speaking Mila. Before I do this, I'm going to answer the rest of the questions in the chat and catch up. With the AI companion thing, are you an affiliate to them? Do you mind sharing their numbers and your numbers as an affiliate? If so, do you only do organic or also SEO and ads? I only do organic. I only do character development. I can't share my affiliate percentage or their numbers. I am under an NDA. They're doing quite well. So like I can say vaguely multi 6 figures a month, and they're one of the smaller players in the space. So there's tons of, the AI companion platforms are insanely high leverage. There's a lot of tech debt that gets incurred when you build a platform like that. So there are other challenges, but once you get everything up and running, you don't have a rev share percentage. You own the entire platform. And so obviously there's a lot more value in there long term. Okay, mint the image posts, they get much more traction for Malananders. Image posts. So I will say that like sometimes carousels just perform better than Reel. Like if you have a creator that has like really lame Reels content, sometimes carousels still pop off. Like a carousel should absolutely be a huge part of your content strategy. I recommend posting carousels at least once a day. That's all I have to say about that. Let's see. Can't an account post different pieces of content that are not related to each or to the same niche? Can you? Yeah, I mean, there's no law against it. Would I recommend it? No. The way that social media works now, again, at risk of beating a dead horse, and I'm only going to do one more review and answer maybe like 2 or 3 more questions, because I am coming up on an hour here and I've got some other stuff to do today. But I would say you can post content that is unrelated to your niche. The problem is you're diluting your audience. So if you make, let's say like 15 reels that are about fishing, I'm just going to use fishing as an example. You make 15 reels that are about fishing, and then the 16th reel is about bowling. Whatever audience that you've built up only cares about fishing content. The algorithm is very good at determining like and serving that content to the correct audience. So you make fishing content, it gets served to audiences that are interested in fishing, and then you randomly post a video about bowling. The algorithm is still going to serve that to the people who are interested in the fishing content, but nobody who's interested in fishing who isn't also interested in bowling is going to watch that piece of content. They're going to be like, why the fuck did I get, like, why is this on my feed? And they're just going to scroll away. And the more you dilute your niche, the more you confuse the algorithm, the more it will serve it to the wrong people because it's not sure where to serve it to, basically. So niche is just basically a shorthand for like who your desired target audience is. And the less specific your audience is, the higher the likelihood that you're not going to reach the audience that you want. Okay. All right, I guess I lied. I've got a bunch more requests. So I'm going to do, let's see, I will choose Lenny Weston. This is somebody's actual model. And then I will do, so what would you even say? Actually, let's do Vega Thompson first because I can answer this question quickly. So what would I say this creator's niche is? Okay, some sort of Naruto trending sound. Outfit of the day. I mean, I would say that this creator's niche is like thirst traps, I guess. And it doesn't seem, it seems like she's doing okay with that. But I would say that that's probably because it's exclusively the only type of content that she posts. So again, there is the consistency element, right? I would not advocate for starting, like the likelihood that you succeed with this type of content if you're just starting with this type of content is very, very, very low, specifically because creators like this exist, right? So this girl already has 1.2 million followers. She probably came up during the COVID boom. And so she's what you would consider an incumbent, right? And what that means, if you think about it in the context of business, right? Think about OnlyFans CRMs. There's like a handful, let's say that there's like 6 or 7, I'm doing the thing, 6, 7. Let's say that there's 6 or 7 OnlyFans CRMs. All of those have a set amount of market share. So it seems like basically everybody uses Inflow, right? So Inflow is like the dominant, they're the incumbent, they're the dominant player, and then you have the smaller ones that are more specialized, like Only Monster and Creator Hero and Super Creator and all those other CRMs. So if Inflow does something extraordinarily well, like they're the industry standard player, and then you say, I'm going to build a CRM that's exactly like Inflow, you're not going to win, right? Inflow is the incumbent. They have all of the advantages. They have the money. They have the customer base. They have the marketing. Everybody already knows about them. And so if you just try, you can copy their product one for one, and you are not going to be successful trying to launch that product. It's the exact same thing in social media. So Vega Thompson is like, she's already developed, let's say like a pseudo, not a monopoly, obviously, because there's a million other creators that are doing this. But she's been doing only thirst trap content for, I don't know how long, let's assume an account of this size, let's assume she's been doing it for at least 2 or 3 years. And so her audience is like, they've come to expect this type of content. And you can see that consistently, I would guess that most of these, like most of her reach is probably coming from her followers who are already really dedicated to her content and interested in her. She's built that over time during a period where you could get away with doing thirst trap content. But if this exact creator were starting today doing this exact type of content, I can basically guarantee you that she would not go anywhere. Like it would be like everything would flop. It would not be performant. So again, yeah, her niche, I would say, is like thirst traps, but it's not a functional niche. It's not a viable niche if you are just starting with a new creator. I would not go this route, even though it's working for her. It's working for her because she's been doing it for 3 years. It's what her audience has come to expect, and she's got a dedicated follower base. But again, I would guess that a majority of these, like if you'll notice, if you scroll down, she's not going past 1 million views on basically any, like she's not surpassing her followers on basically any of these posts, with very rare exceptions. And so what you can sort of ascertain from that without having direct access again to her Instagram insights is that most likely a majority of the people that are watching her content are already followers. So great for her, not so great for anybody that's starting out and trying to compete in the thirst trap niche. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and it's somebody's model. I'm going to do Lenny Weston. So let's go. One more analysis. And while I'm doing this analysis, feel free to get a couple more questions in and I will answer. But as soon as the last question is answered, I'm going to end the stream. So, okay, we've got 512 followers. All right, so lots of like close-ups. She's got crazy threaded eyebrows. Okay, let's watch. Let me do a quick sort feed real quick. Looks like you're consistently putting out content, so that's good. But none of the content is performing terribly well. So this might actually just be a perfect example of what I was just talking about. So let's watch a couple of this creator's content.
I'm getting back, and he does these things when he hooks his thumb in the back door, then uses that like to pull me into him. I'm taking that man's last name. I got dibs on that one.
Okay, so it's just like super sexual.
Just a pervert. I just want to see if one man in a single day could put enough loads in me that I just couldn't fit anymore. It's just overflowing. It'd be fun to try.
So yeah, I would say I'll watch a couple more just to make sure that I get the gist, but I think I get the gist.
In the morning before work.
So the problem here is that you are just doing like hypersexual, like the niche, I guess, is like hypersexual kind of like pervert girl content. This can work, but you need to couch it in the context of an actual niche, right? So, and this is a perfect example of what I was just talking about, where like there's tons of creators that are doing content like this that are successful with it because they've already been doing it for 3 or 4 years. Now you're a new market entrant and you're competing for market share with creators that already have 2 million, 3 million followers. You're not going to win that game. So it's better not to play that game. What I would recommend doing is, does this creator have an interest? So maybe it's like, ideally it's something that's a little bit more male focused. So like if she was doing this type of content or making these jokes, but in the context of like playing League of Legends or something like that, or, you know, going back to the example, like fishing or cooking, like, can you make it so that she's being served to a specific audience of people that are interested in a thing? Let's say cooking, right? You could do something where she does like the ahagao face every time she puts something in the oven, and then it's the rest of it is just like a cooking video where she's doing like a quick recipe or explaining something or otherwise providing value to the audience, and she's trying to reach a specific audience. Right now, the audience that you're targeting is horny men, and guess what? Every single other OnlyFans creator, every single other girl on this platform is also targeting the audience of horny men. So you're way too diluted. You're targeting way too broad of an audience. This is a very attractive creator. She's got a very unique look. And she's obviously like comfortable in front of the camera and comfortable making these dirty jokes. Couch the dirty jokes in some sort of context that is interesting to the audience, so it's not just her. Give the audience a reason to care about the content, and they will come to care about her over time. Hopefully that makes sense. But that is what I would recommend for this creator. The problem that you're running into is just your niche is hypersexual, like pervert girl content, and that's just there's a million other people that are competing in that niche. It's going to be very, very hard to get any traction if you're just starting off. Okay. All right. So are you saying, I'm going to answer the rest of the questions in the chat, and then I'm going to sign off for the evening. So if you've got, I can do, let's say, like 3 more questions. So if you've got questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm not going to do any more creator reviews. So are you saying that we shouldn't go for the same niches that are already working massively for other models? Thought it's the way to go, actually. That's precisely what I'm saying. You shouldn't go for the same niches that are already massively working for other models, specifically because they're massively working for other models. Again, the analogy that I'll use, actually, even OnlyFans is a great example, right? So let's just say we're talking about incumbent versus disruptor. So OnlyFans is the biggest fan page platform, but there are tons of other platforms that are trying to compete with OnlyFans. The problem is they are trying to compete with OnlyFans doing the same thing, right? So like FanView, Fansly, Slushy, there's a ton of other, let's say like a dozen other like reasonably sized fan page platforms, but they're all competing with OnlyFans, who has the biggest market share. And in order to, if somebody's already like dominating a market, so in this case it's thirst traps, right? If somebody's already dominating the market for thirst traps and you come in as a small creator that is trying to also that's just trying to copy their content, the problem is a million other people are also trying to copy their content, right? You're trying to compete with Coca-Cola. You can't compete with Coca-Cola. You need to do something different from Coca-Cola that is attractive to a different audience. Otherwise, you're trying to steal business from Coca-Cola, and that's not a winning business strategy. And this is like really obvious when you talk about it in the context of business, but it's for some reason less obvious when you're talking about it in the context of social. And the reality is that there is, just like there's a finite number of, theoretically a finite number of dollars, and everybody's competing for dollars in a different way. There's a finite share of attention. People only have so much time in the day. And yes, people are like doom scrolling a lot. But that there's still, attention is a finite resource. You have to give the audience a reason to give you their attention. And if you're doing the exact same thing as another creator who's like also hot, you're just creating the exact same content as them, but that person has 1 million more followers than you are going to lose that game every single time, because the guys that are watching that content are just going to keep watching her content. They're not like interested in watching, they don't want that to be their entire feed, presumably. And even if they did, there are so many other creators that are doing the same thing. It's impossible for you to stand out unless you are doing something that's legitimately interesting to a specific audience. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that helps. What would you suggest for POV niche for POG? I'm not quite sure how to answer that question. I'm going to do, let's see. I got to find one more good question before I sign off. Let's see. Let me scroll up. Maybe I missed something. What niche should I pick to scale Asian girl from 0 on Instagram? What type of reels to create? It's way too broad of a question. Check out again, anybody who's asking questions about niche, download the free brand strategy workbook. It's the first link in the description. Go through it with the model. You'll have a much, much clearer idea of what niche actually means and how to approach it and how to select a niche for the model. So yeah, if you're asking any questions about niche, please download the free brand strategy workbook. It's the first link in the description. I'm not going to do the bag chaser. I'm not going to do any more creator reviews tonight. I'm going to answer one more. Oh, forgot to speak about launching models from 0. Okay, great. So that's what we'll end the stream on. So launching models from 0. Okay, this is the last question. No, I'll get to this. So I'll just give a quick high-level overview. I've already made a video about this. I'll link it in the description or not in the description, but in the chat. Here we go. Da-da. So if you really want to know, like if you want a more detailed explanation of how I would approach launching a creator from 0, watch the video that I just linked in the description if you have not already. But high-level overview, what I would say is the very first question that you need to think about is what audience are you trying to target? In OnlyFans, we have this conception that like we're all trying to reach the same guys, and that's not necessarily true, right? Men have different sexual interests. It's true that like a majority of the audience that we're trying to reach are guys that are, let's say, like lonely, have some disposable income, but that's a huge subset of people. So you have to narrow it. You have to think smaller, not bigger, right? So what is a specific type of guy? Like and try to imagine a specific person. So maybe it's like, and think about people that you know in your life. If you know anybody in your life that like uses OnlyFans or has like a pornography addiction or any other kind of like the people that are most susceptible to this type of messaging, you have to understand who they are and think like them. So what's a category of guys who are lonely, spend a lot of time alone, and have a high degree, like a fairly high amount of disposable discretionary income? The first thing that comes to mind for me is like truckers, right? Truckers if you're driving a semi-truck, you're spending like 40 to 60 hours a week alone on the road. You have no opportunity to develop companionship. You're not talking to anybody. You are just alone driving a truck for infinite time. So think about what would be appealing to a trucker. You could make content that is specifically appealing to truckers. In order to do that, you have to understand a little bit more about the audience, about the vernacular that they use. Like, what are the terms that are unique to trucking? What are the types of content that truckers consume? So the way that you would approach that if you were starting a model from 0 is like, okay, maybe you've got kind of like a girl that's got like big boobs. She's a little bit trailer trashy. Just like, white girl, a little bit trashy, like appeals to redneck blue collar type of guys. And then, so that's you now have a match between your model and your audience. Now you have to figure out, okay, what is the best type of content for this creator? If I want to reach the specific audience of truckers, maybe she could go to like a bunch of different gas stations and like review different parts of gas stations or something like that. It could be anything, right? Again, the sky is the limit on creativity. But once you've selected who your audience avatar is, and again, these are like fundamental foundational business concepts that map very well onto social media. It's all the same stuff. You're just competing for attention instead of dollars, because eventually that attention becomes dollars. So if I want to reach truckers, I think, what do truckers want? Okay, well, truckers probably eat a lot of like junk food. They probably eat a lot of like salty snacks. They probably eat a lot of fast food. If I was targeting truckers and I had a creator that was appealing to truckers, I would think like, okay, maybe she can do like gas station reviews. Maybe she can do junk food reviews. Maybe she can talk about like anytime that like a new fast food place releases a new menu item, she can go and like review it and just like, you know, stream it in her car and get a bunch of like messy fast food on her boobs or something like that. There's a million different ways to approach this, but if you're starting a creator from zero, the first and most important thing to think about is who is my audience? What is the specific audience that I want to target? Match that audience. You know, obviously it has to make sense for the model, and then figure out what the model is interested in that would be appealing to that audience. And if the model's not really interested in anything that's appealing to that audience, but you're still confident that that's the audience that you want to reach, you're going to have to prescribe a content format to that model that makes sense, that she can do, that she can replicate consistently, right? So I've got a ton of content about this specific topic. Again, please watch the video that I just linked in the description. It goes into way greater detail, but that is how I would think about starting a model from zero. And then once you develop that like foothold with that audience, you know, again, let's assume it's truckers for this specific scenario. Once you're in with that audience and you know who that target audience is, the audience will tell you if the content is good. The audience will tell you if it's matching their desires. They'll tell you in comments, and they will also tell you through the reach that you get and the engagement that you get. So you can just iterate over time and improve the content, and based on the feedback that you're getting from the audience, based on your performance metrics, you just iteratively improve and figure out how to get better and better and better at reaching that specific target audience. As opposed to what most OFMs do is they think, I want to reach horny guys. I'm going to make content that appeals to horny guys. Guess what? Everyone wants to reach horny guys. You have to be way more specific and way more creative in your thinking. So I'm going to end the live on that note. Thank you for everybody who submitted creators for review. Thank you for everybody who asked questions. I'm going to try to do this consistently on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern. So if you are interested in these lives, if you enjoy this experience, just keep in mind that's the date and time that I'm generally targeting, Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern. I've got a bunch of links in the description of this live stream. The first one is a free brand strategy workbook that I've referenced a few times. Go through this with your creators. It's a super helpful tool. I designed it specifically for people that are starting from zero. And then the other links are all, I've got a consultation link if you want to consult with me directly one-on-one. I have a free Telegram community. If you're not already in the community, I strongly recommend joining. And then I have the link to Super Creators AI OnlyFans chatbot. Awesome product if you are just getting started and trying to scale your chat team without spending too much money. So that's it for now. Thank you again. And I'll be releasing a video on Friday, and I'll be doing another live stream